Hi Stampin' friends, tonight we're going to use the Tractor & Company bundle. It does have a lot of great dies and a lot of great stamps. You can see the trailer, the tractor, the little wheels for it, and it has Christmas trees and pumpkins, and then hay and corn and a little chicken. Just a lot of fun. Some great sentiments to go with it. Season's greetings. Hey, it's your birthday, and even has it in quotes. Thinking of you, and thanks for pulling me through. So I've done 3 different possibilities for us to kind of look at with this. And maybe you can get some tips from this for your favorite way of doing it. And then also, I will be able to see which one I prefer to make my cards out of. So we'll be doing mostly die cuts, mostly stamping, and then a combination of die cuts and stamping. So of course, so let's get started. So the first thing that I was thinking with this was using the die cuts. So my color scheme for this one, I was thinking Christmas, and I was thinking an International Harvester tractor. So red, of course, real red is what I used. You could use a darker red. It's probably a little bit more accurate. Use cherry cobbler, but I like a bright red. So just my opinion. And then I got a piece of white, the same size or just a smidge. I like to try to make it just a smidge bigger than 5 1/4 wide when I'm doing this, so that I can tear some little snow along the bottom and then put that on there. So I'm just going to use my Stampin' Seal. I'm going to use a combination of Stampin' Seal and also our mono multi-green capped glue that I have put in a different container. The reason I did that was because it's easier for me to use. I get way too much, and I honestly just sort of can't even use it when it is in the green capped glue. I just do better with this the little My Sweet Petunia piece for the back. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down. It doesn't take very much. You can see how little I'm using. I haven't had any problems with it coming up. And then my next plan was to just kind of play with the tractor. You could certainly use the tractor as your main focal point, which I think makes the most sense with this, sorry. And get it, make it look hitched together. I have this little tractor tire, and then I have these little tractor tires. And you don't have to have these stuck together, of course. They just kind of look like they're kind of floating, but that's fine. And then we've got these little pieces that go over, little fenders to stick on, and then I would probably stick those on with some dimensionals or something to kind of raise them up. You don't need to. You can see the texture, the lift there that gives it. Just kind of up to you on that. And then these have little centers like that, like they have little hubcaps. Let's get the other one here. That and that. This little center here. I think this will be a lot of fun to just kind of play with when you're needing a few more Christmas cards and you're watching some Christmas movies. I think this is one that would be a lot of fun to just, you could cut these out while you're watching, and then also get these stamped get these put together in the next movie. All right, I'm putting in some of these cute little trees. I think they are nicely embellished with little cutouts so that it makes it a really cute textured little tree. So I did green, garden green, and granny apple green. But you could play with that, of course. I did an extra because I was thinking, well, which way will I prefer it? I'm still not totally sure, but you can make it look like there are different size trees, things like that. Oh, another thing I wanted to show you. it has this great grill work and the little smokestack there. This one I die cut in silver. And so let me lift it up so you can see. The silver die cut. But it also might be fine to just do it in the gray. Now, maybe not. This is smoky slate and this is cloud cover. So that may not be the kind of contrast that you would enjoy. If I were going to use the gray, I should use for the background the pool party or something. But anyway, I think you can see there that that's pretty cute. Then we got to put our seat. I feel like the tractor seat could go a little lower, kind of like that, where our tractor's sitting. And then maybe a little bit of this. And then what I would probably do, I probably would have cut these all the way across. And then, you know, this would be the fastest way to do it. But if you wanted to get really fussy and cute, you could do them all in the dark green, and then cut the little banners out of the red and the granny apple to make it contrasting. Then I was also thinking, you've got to have a sentiment, of course. That makes a pretty good layer. This is from the Textured Notes. It makes a pretty darn good layer for these 1/2-inch strips of paper that I cut off of things. So I do always like a layer, and I've had a little trouble finding one lately. Another kind of a possibility, you would have to cut it, is this letter I. This is the letter I from the big giant letters. And I think that would be perfect to use as well, because it's pretty easy to cut that to the length that you need. I actually think I may like that better than the 1/2 inch, because it's not quite as wide as all that. So let's find our Season's Greeting stamp. I'm like sitting here trying to consider it and decide whether I would prefer to have the sentiment be in red or black or green. I'm actually kind of leaning towards black. I think that it will maybe show up the best. So let me get my Season's Greetings. I might choose a bigger thing, because I'm not sure I can get it on that one. Okay, gonna try this one. Try to get it right over to the edge, almost. I have to cut it. Oh, the sentiment letters are so nice because they really do. What I did was I cut it about the length of the entire thing. Then I'm able to not have so much. I don't have to get it exactly right. I can cut it a couple more times until I get it exactly like I want it. Not bad. So I'm gonna do that one more time. I appreciate your patience, of course. I see that a couple people are here. Thank you for watching. And then I'm just gonna add this here. And pop it here and here. It could be super cute also to put a little red ribbon bow on there. I think that would be nice. We have this rather large red ribbon here, but you could certainly use, if you had some trim that was smaller, you might want to use a smaller ribbon. There you can see. Just put that on there. Now, the reason it looks kind of bad is I use these scissors. Oh, there they are. My gosh. I knew I had them here. That's why I didn't lose my cool, but I just could not figure out what had happened. So let me cut this with the real scissors you're supposed to use to cut those with. There we go. So there you can see the little ribbon, and this just kind of adds to this look here. So I think this is a fun little Christmas card that you could send to someone who lives in the country, or honestly just anyone. I would probably scoot this up just a little bit as far as filling the space when I go to actually stick this down, and maybe put some Wink of Stella along the bottom. You know, that's our little stuff here, just to make it look like it has melted under the tires, to give it a little more Christmas fun. And then maybe add some silver, well, our little bling pieces there in the center could be cute. All right, so that's our little Christmas guy. And now I'm gonna move along here to a harvest one. I've used this paper. I don't know if you remember this paper. It has the kind of sketchy type flowers, but this bottom piece here I thought looked really cute. I don't know where you live, but where I live, the grass is still green while we're harvesting a lot of things, like corn and pumpkins and whatever, so that would be appropriate. I also had two different color schemes here, and I honestly couldn't decide which one I preferred for each one. So I may end up switching that before I actually turn this into a card that I'm going to put on my blog. So what I do, my system with this is, I do a Facebook video, and then I edit the video and put it on YouTube and complete my cards and put them, get them just how I want them. This is kind of like all the things you could do, idea. My videos are idea videos, not like, here's how to make this exact card. It's more of like, here's how to use this set I really like. And so what I do after I make the cards, I upload them to my blog, and the video is also linked on my blog or on my blog so that you can see it. And then that is how what my system is when I'm working with this. Okay, so this one is supposed to be a New Holland type tractor, and I've stamped all the little tires and all the little pieces, and the tires were a little more trouble than the tractor. The tractor stamped really nicely. I really liked that. It does not have any hubcaps on it, or no, fenders for the stamped versions. And then put your little pumpkins in there. One thing I would do, after you've finished making your pumpkins, you can go back in with, we're losing our Stampin' Right markers, but you can always go back in with a blend and color your tops of your pumpkins. So let me scoot this over here. I don't want it to get on anything. Now I am actually using a green, an old olive, but what that's gonna do when we use it with the orange is just make a perfect little brown stem. So I'll show you that real quick. It's got a lot more brown in it than you would expect out of old olive because it's got the Timid Tiger under it. So this is Timid Tiger and Azure Afternoon. Okay, so for this one, I'm gonna go ahead and use Thinking of You when I find it. There it is. And put that on one of our little layers here. I'm thinking maybe this one. And what's so great about using Timid Tiger is we have the perfect matching ribbon. I can put a little bow on there, a little bit of ribbon under what I'm doing, and that will add to the look. So just one second, let me pop a little bow off of my roll of ribbon here. There we go. Now I'll just need to straighten it up a little bit and get it just how I want it. But you can see I can put that right there. And then I would, well, this is going to be interesting, me searching for, it always takes me so long to find exactly what I'm looking for. But I do think that the pastel enamel dots are perfect for this because they come in here we go, these rainbow dots. They come in an Azure Afternoon color, and I would add that in a little surround around the sentiment. Since I have the orange here, I'm gonna put orange Thinking of You, and because it's a fall look, an orange Thinking of You on there using my Timid Tiger. Do that real quick. I just love this font that they used on this. It's very sweet. I don't think I necessarily got that right where I needed to, but there you can see the Thinking of You, the little bow, and then maybe some dots here. That's kind of perfect. There we go. So there we have our little harvest card in kind of interesting colors because they're kind of Oklahoma City Thunder colors, which I love. It's kind of a different fall look. Next, we're going to use John Deere green, which I think our closest color for that is, of course, garden green. So my plan for this one is to do mostly stamping. Oh, I forgot to put my little seat on there, that over there. So what I did here was I cut a 1-inch strip. This will make more sense later, of two layers, I guess you would say, of designer series paper. And then I zigzag cut them across like this, because what I'm going to do when I'm finished is alternate yellow and green to kind of finish up my card. So do it like that, and then like that. You'll see in just a second. There you can see how that's how they were, and I cut them just in a random sort of zigzag pattern. And I will have enough of this to make the opposite colorway on a different card. Okay, so this is an easel, and I should have had my layer on there already. That would have saved you time looking. So there you can see it really gives it a John Deere look with the yellow and the green. So I'm just going to put my adhesive on this piece. This is an easel card that is, let's see here. I want to tell you this so I didn't forget. Of course, it's scored at 4 1/4, then it's scored at 2 1/8. And that's how you make an easel, or you can make it, you could fold it this direction and it would be a, see there, it would be a faux gate fold. It's just, these little folds are so simple, but a lot of fun to play with. So I'm just gonna cover this with our Granny Apple Green. The Granny Apple Green, I thought just kind of brightened it up. Garden Green was a little much, and this is the color of paper I had for the bottom, so I thought that would be cute there. So then you can see how I will, when I'm finished, I will put a strip of ribbon or something along here to just make it stand up a little better. Okay, so now is kind of the hard part. Oh, I did do this piece as well. It's from the same, the 6x6 paper packs. I thought that could look good at the top. If you were doing the punch out, of course you could do the whole thing in it. I think that would be a pretty texture to put in there. All right, so here we go with our stamping. I've got myself 3 pieces because you can see that I'm not especially confident in my abilities here. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is stamp my, my little, oh, I stuck them together. That wasn't good. Don't do what I did. Stamp my little tractor, like that, and like that. Okay, so I'm using Garden Green, and it's gonna look a little dark, but to me, the John Deere green color is kind of dark. And I am gonna do this facing me. I apologize in advance. I kind of need to see what I'm doing because I don't want to just completely make it look crazy. All right. Try not to rock it. I need to re-ink my pad. I thought I had done that, but okay, yeah, there we go. I'm leaving a little bit of space so I have room for my tires. There we are. And then now I'm using my trailer, doing it in the green, garden green. Putting it right over here. Good thing I didn't use too much. Didn't get it too much further away, I would have had a problem. All right. And then if I have a problem, I can use a blender pen to pick up a little bit of ink off here. You can see there where I did not do a great job, and you may be wondering, since they're retiring the Stampin' Right markers, what you will do. This is what you will do for new colors. You'll just use the Stampin' Blend and finish it out that way on these water-based inks. It works out nicely, kind of smooths it out. or I mean, the texture's not bad. It's just where it feels like it didn't quite color in, then this will stop that from feeling that way, if it is feeling that way to you. So there you can see. All right, now I'm going to grab these tires. I'm gonna put them on. And I'm gonna use my Memento Tuxedo Black. And I do tend to get it down in the things. I'll apologize in advance. Hopefully I can hold back from stamping too hard. I find also when you're doing a solid image stamp and doing it into your Memento Black, I like to take it and then twist it because that will get a little more ink on your stamp. I guess I should be showing you that. A little twist like that. And then I always just turn it over and look, and if I can see a lot of texture, I know that it's not quite inked enough. Now I think I've got it too inked, but you know. All right. So I got those little guys on there. And now you can see the little ones. They turned out well. So I'll probably mess up the big one. You know, it's kind of what I do. Can't have everything. All right, so I did the same twisting action on this one. And I'm just kind of eyeballing where I'm putting these. Just kind of want to press down, not press too hard. And then they're kind of the same thing. I'll need to use a Stampin' Blend or the Black Journaler to go in here and kind of fix a little bit of this. Make it look a little bit neater. The dies, when you cut them, do cut several pieces of, you can cut the different pieces. So you could put this on there, you know, make a combination, put your, this little guy on there. See how that turns out? You can also, it cuts these center pieces, so you could put, cut them and put yellow centers inside your, wheels, and that would look cute as well. So, okay, so now I'm going to move on with the rest of the decor for it. I'm gonna put some corn in the back of the truck. Okay, so where did I set that? Here it is. And here is my Granny Apple Green, because I want there to be some contrast. Use my Granny Apple Green here. Oh, that was supposed to be the back. The hay was supposed to go in there. You can just laugh along with me. That's too funny. All right, and then my little corn here. As this poor farmer does not have a corn picker, so he just has it in the back of his truck. We'll just pretend together that is not the direction it goes. Let's go this way. There we go. And now we have our little ears of corn on there. And then the thing to probably do when you, oh, I should have put this up higher. That was my whole plan, was to put it up higher and make it where my little pieces would fit along the bottom. We'll do that in a minute, but I did want it. And it also, because this looks like it needs sky, that was, yeah. So like if you do that, you could put sky up here if you do what I did just then. And then if you don't, if you cut this a little closer, then you can put this yellow and, ooh, got some on my hands, a little bit of black. So be careful with that, because you can always use a sanding block of some kind. You can get just one from the hardware store and get a lot of that off. So if that becomes a problem. And let's see here, I wanted to put some hay. Let's see if I can get that done. I may not be able to because I may have messed up too badly. But ideally you would put the hay, I'm gonna put it like this so that I can put it directly behind. Whoops. And to make it look even better, you would take your blends with some, your Stampin' blending brushes and use maybe some pumpkin pie. Put it on the edges, or a brown, just whichever. Just to make it look. Don't want to put it on the bottom necessarily because that'll call a lot of attention to it, but I think just adding a little bit more color would be cute. So I'm going to put it right there. And I'm just stamping right on top, and I'm going to do it one more time like they're in the background. Like they've been old-timey stacked there in the background. And then you can use I would use some crumb cake in the background. That might work. To just add color down here, back in here. Kind of all around. The only that you don't want to get it, in my opinion, on the tires up here. That just kind of gives it kind of a little dusty look. Just kind of blend that all in. And then I'm just going to get my Pool Party or Balmy Blue. And I kind of lean towards Balmy Blue here. So I'll get my True Blue blending brush, one that I've used in True Blue. Stamp off right in there a little bit. Oh yeah, that's nice. And just add a little color up in this. Up here. Just to kind of give it a little cloudy day kind of look. Oh, I got a big glob of it right there. So I'll just do a few more of those. I find when you have a glob like that, that putting a whole bunch more globs kind of makes it look like it's a cloudy sky. Sky peeking through the clouds. Okay. So there you can see that there are a variety of ways to use this. And then I will redo this, of course, before I actually finish, but I'll go ahead and kind of tack this down a little bit with some Stampin' Seal so that you can see that. And then as far as a color to put the sentiment on with, I think I like, hold on just a second, I'm trying to get this one. This little piece here. I think I might use the, both the, and I closed it up while I was talking, both the Garden Green and the Granny Apple Green. So for this one, I'm wanting to say this, it's your birthday, and then the hay, as soon as I find the hay. And then, oh, I forgot to have a little chicken on there. So I would definitely stamp the chicken and cut him out, put him right up in the middle there, just for kind of whimsy. I'm gonna put the hay on the left side and the It's Your Birthday part on the right side, because I think that will make some pretty good sense on there for us how to do it. I'm gonna use the hay, I'm gonna make be the green. The Granny Apple. There we go. That's what I was talking about there. And then I'm gonna use the It's Your Birthday with the Garden Green. I might as well just close this up. Oh, I forgot to stamp this little guy on there, my little tractor seat. I'll do that in a second. Some Garden Green. That's one thing about so many pieces like this. It was the first week of school and I'm kind of tired. So apparently it's made me have to think too much, but normally it would be fun. So, hey, it's your birthday. And then I'm gonna get my little seat and put it on there. Oops, good thing I'm wearing a black dress. That worked out well for me. Got the little seat here. Let's see how well I can get that on there. Right in the spot there. Can always use, there we go. That looks cute. And then I'm gonna take this and just kind of tack it on there. I may not end up redoing this because it kind of just looks silly, which can be a fun thing. it's your birthday. Stick that on there like that. And then I'm gonna use this across the bottom. Start here. Just gonna, let's see, try to figure out how to make it where you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm gonna put that right there. And I just thought of this, I'm gonna have to cut the end because I did this the full length of the paper. There, you can, oh my goodness, the sun is really coming in. But if I put it back here, I think it'll look really cute, and then put just a small piece to write on at the top. So I will work on that as well. So there you can see that's what I did with my little tractor stamping, doing mostly stamping. This is the one that I did using mostly stamping and die cutting with my little Thinking of You. And then this one I did with mostly die cutting. Oh, this has moved on me. But I don't want to make you watch me glue things together. So that's my thinking on that. But there you can see it. You'll have to check back in to see what this looks like when it's finished. And then I would want to add some Wink of Stella for the melty snow. I appreciate you all watching, and I hope that you have a great and stampy weekend. Bye-bye.